Yo, Concrete, you made this?
Everybody, welcome back to another episode of Prolific Roots. I am Monte, here with my host Losi today, and Ricky's here. He's off camera. And we also have a very special guest with us today. He goes by the name of Rob Poleki, and he's a man I met on LinkedIn. He's like one of the first people I thought of when we thought about doing this podcast with entrepreneurial type people who are doing it big in the Polynesian community. And I guess I'll let him explain, what it is that he does, or, what his company is, and maybe a little bit about himself, a brief history of where you grew up, how you moved around and stuff like that, your family. So on to you, Rob.
Sure. Hey, thanks guys for having me on the show. Appreciate it. My story is all over the place. Born and raised in New Zealand, came to the States when I was 12 years old with my family. First one to go to college, so that landed me in Idaho. I went to Idaho State University, got a degree in social work, and that's where I started my career. But I was kind of raised in Hawaii, so I moved my family back to Hawaii.
Local boy. What part of Hawaii? We've had a few people from Hawaii,
right in Honolulu. I was raised in the ghetto of Hawaii, KPT.
Yeah, so, not KPT.
Yeah, it's I don't know if you guys have been there, but spent a few years there. And I was fortunate, my mom and dad worked really hard to get us out of there.
Right.
So I moved, our family moved out while the rest of our extended family stayed. So, I owe a lot to my parents for, getting on that grind and getting us out there. I don't know if it's like, the mainland ghettos, but it's bad. It's pretty bad in there. So I went to school, got a football scholarship, a last chance football scholarship.
Did you go to JUCO route or?
No, most of the guys that got in trouble or something happened, I didn't play a lot of my senior year. The Pac-12 coaches got fired from Wazoo, went to Idaho State, and then they recruited all the the last chance kids, right?
Okay.
If you didn't have grades or something happened to you. So I went to Idaho State and again got my degree, went back to Hawaii, and I started working as a social worker for the VA. For homeless veterans with substance abuse and mental health issues. And then I started to dab in film, independent film director. We went to this, me and my boys, going out every weekend. We went to a film festival, and we were like, we could do that.
Yeah.
We could do that. So, a month went by, and we bought a cheap camera. And the people that were entering this competition, they were filming at Lost and now at Hawaii Five-0, the guys that were winning this competition. So our first film we ever made was the longest, the story just dragged on and on. But the storyline was so good, we came second place out of like 17 films.
Wow,
nice.
And it was the crappiest film.
First one, that's the first one you ever did?
That's my first one I ever did, and then we were like, we got this. We just got to get better at the camera work. And we got this. So
you got the storytelling down. You just need to.
Yeah. That's where we come from, right? We can tell stories,
right?
Let
me tell you, I tell stories. I still tell stories.
Yeah. So we're called Water Life. A lot of old. I'm 39. A lot of older guys might know us. We were one of the first that filmed. Mm-hmm. You can go back on YouTube and check us out. A little plug right there, but that's stopped. We don't do that anymore, but. We started winning all these film competitions. We won actually 4. Nice. And the biggest one was the Hawaii International Film Festival. And then that got us into jobs. Production assistant at Lost, filming commercials everywhere in Hawaii. And then my wife decided she wanted to move back to Idaho with her family, so my boys were like, "What? We're doing really well.
Who are you going to choose?
Yeah, what are you doing? You're leaving us." Because, they were the actors. There was 7 of us. They were the actors, and I was the guy editing and
you're the director, huh?
Yeah,
producer.
leading them. And, we'll go into an office space and film this sketch, like this 30-minute thing. And these guys will be just messing around the whole time, and I'm yelling at them like, "Can we be serious?" You know how it goes. All the boys are in there, and we started to get really good at it. And everybody knew us on the island. So that was way back in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
And then moved to Idaho and got a job there. And so the same thing happened. I was working for the social services department in the county, and my boss was about to get fired. I was like, I can do that job. So I took her job, and then my boss was an elected official. And when he retired, I was like, I can do that job. And so I took his job, and they appointed me, and then I ran for my first term and won.
Nice.
As a newcomer, I was running against a guy. He's well established and
been there probably
in Idaho. And so I beat him, and so I became an elected official, and that's when I had to grow up and stop wearing basketball shorts out in public, slippers.
We're still in that phase.
We need to grow up, guys.
So here's a story about that. I was at Winco. I remember this story like perfectly. It's at Winco, and the public that supported me in my campaign. This lady, she saw me, and she walked past me. And I was like, "Hey, how's it going?" And she looked at me and was like, "Oh, Robert." And that I was wearing the slippers, the basketball shorts, the hat. And that's when I found out, listen, if I'm going to be in this position, and be a professional, I need to start dressing up. My wife told me to get rid of all the basketball shorts. Right. So I had to clean out my closet, I was the youngest elected official in the state of Idaho. And it took a lot of work as a newcomer, but I got it done. And then I became an inventor. So when I was in office, I was sitting at my desk one day, and I was like, "This isn't going to make me rich."
Right.
A lot of stress.
Was it good money though, or being?
I was making $70,000 a year. Okay. I had 60 plus employees, 6 large departments. I ran a $67 million budget. Mm-hmm. So a lot of stress.
Yeah.
I ran the elections for the whole county. I ran the whole court system. So I was clerk of the district court. I just had so much responsibility. My name was on everything. Mm-hmm. And so I decided, I got to do something else. So I went down the list of all my ideas. I'm the guy that I have like 17 pages of ideas. I said, okay, nobody's done this. I've never been in a toilet seat company ever in my life.
Right.
So nobody's done this. I'm going to do this. So I called out to a patent attorney, and we started the process, and I did a whole bunch of reading for the next 5 years to get a patent. I was finally issued a patent in 2018. So I'm
hold on, you skipped right over exactly what your product is. I know you mentioned it a little bit. Talk about this toilet seat of yours that you just had this bright idea of toilet seat.
How did you even get the idea?
Yeah. Were you on a toilet seat when you had the idea of the toilet seat?
The best idea from when you're doing the number 2. So Salt Lake City Airport, they hate when I tell this story, but I'm still going to tell it. Because they're one of our customers.
They're not watching this. I wish they were, but they're not.
If they are, thank you.
They might be one day. They're going to go back and find what I said. But in 2015, my son, he's 4 at the time, he's doing the potty dance. We're at the airport. So we go wait in line, and the stall opens up, and we get in there, and it's bad,
Piss
right?
all over,
Piss all over the seat. So I wipe it down, and I put a toilet seat cover on there. And he's like, "No, I'm not getting on that." He has to sit down, right? So I went and grabbed some soap and some paper towels, and I cleaned it off for him, and he sat down. I'm like, how come there isn't this in the bathroom?
Yeah.
Like, nobody likes these paper toilet seat covers. They don't work, right? So that's where the idea came from.
They they work. They do their job, but it takes a while.
Yeah. So
especially on like automatic toilet seats.
Yeah,
this is one of my pet peeves. I'm going to interject.
This guy has a personal,
because this is going to go perfectly with your product here. When you go into a bathroom and it has an automatic toilet, and you try to put the little plastic or the
what's automatic toilet?
It flushes on its own. It's a sensor.
Oh, okay.
And you put your little seat cover down, turn around,
And right before you sit down, it flushes and your toilet seat cover goes with it.
Yeah.
You posted a video about that.
A video. So
Oh, you
exactly
did?
what
See?
you're saying. We have videos
man.
on it, and then movies have played that comedy.
If your product helps, I don't even know what the product is yet.
You
I like
sold.
it already. I like it already.
Yeah, so you wave your hand over a sensor, sanitizing foam comes to the surface, you grab some toilet paper, and you just clean the seat down before you sit.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
But you're still sitting bare.
sitting bare. See, the thing is people need to educate themselves on the paper toilet seat cover. So it is absorbent. So anything that's sitting on the seat goes through anyway.
Right.
Especially if there's pee all over the seat. The paper thing's not going to do anything.
Yeah,
Right.
you'll feel
Well,
it.
you wipe the pee off first, though, right?
Yeah, so
you don't?
I'm gonna be honest. I just hold it till I get to my house.
I don't poop in public restrooms.
All the toilets I
We're gonna wait this out, or
I clean public restrooms better than I do my home. I'm not gonna lie. I'm in there scrubbing sometimes, man.
Yeah.
But-
So yeah, you're gonna sit bare, but I mean, you know that alcohol solution is clean the seat.
True.
And you know, paper toilet seat covers don't work. Right. So I picked it out of the list. I've never been in this industry before, and so you know what? Screw it. I'm just gonna do it. So I went through the process, got a patent, and then I started making prototypes. So my first prototype, Home Depot, got a toilet seat, you got a drill, drilling holes in it, you got sprinkler heads and tubing from a fish bowl, right? And put a dispenser together. I just put it together. So when this blows up, when people see the first prototype, they're gonna be like, "Oh, Home Depot's gonna sponsor me because I made it at Home Depot."
Right, that's true.
And then so my partner and I, my partner's name is Dane. He's the founder of the company. We went to Dallas and we connected with a huge manufacturing company in China. So they've been making our seats. Made my first trip to China last year. Best trip of my life. Tons of manufacturing and money in China.
for sure.
And so I'm going back probably once or twice a year, to China. So we launched our company in August, and that's kind of the short version. All the stories in between. It has been hard.
Right. Oh, we're gonna
we're definitely diving into that for sure.
Get a few of those.
So that's kind of the fast. Who's Rob Poleki? Yeah.
So what's the timeline of all this? How long were you working as an elected official?
So I was elected in 2014, and then I ended my term at 2019.
So about 5 years.
So here's a story.
That's better.
Shark Tank. I'm gonna kill these producers on Shark Tank. I swear.
You were on Shark Tank.
So in 2018, I quit my job as an elected official because I was about to go on Shark Tank. I was 2 weeks away from filming. They were ordering my set. We were going over my pitch. And they said, Rob, you can't be running for office while on a network, on a TV network. It's a federal guideline that if your opponent doesn't have the same amount of airtime as you can't do it. So you have to choose. You either come on Shark Tank or you stay with your job.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I quit my job. It's all over the newspapers. The papers got it from Tri-Cities in Washington to St. George in Utah. Elected official quits his job to go on a toilet seat run, right? And it gave me tons of pub, and they cut me. They cut me 2 weeks.
Shark Tank did.
Shark Tank cut me.
That's crazy.
Sick.
It was the biggest punch in the gut. The first biggest punch in my gut. I was depressed, for a month. Right. That was me. It's like, oh my gosh, the first year I get my patent, and now I'm going on Shark Tank.
Right.
But things happen for a reason. I'm so glad I didn't go on Shark Tank.
Right.
Every single year they've kept in touch with me. The producers they call me and say, we're ready, and then they say, oh, sorry, we chose somebody else. Just like a month ago, they say, oh, can't go in August filming, we chose somebody else. So every year, now I have a chip on my shoulder. I'm gonna show you guys, right? I'm gonna show you guys when I blow this up. But because of what happened and I quit my job, the company Squatty Potty saw me. Squatty Potty, you guys know Squatty Potty?
Nope. Is that the one where it elevates your feet?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So they're a huge.
You guys need to get your
Shark Tank. They're one of Shark Tank's biggest companies. So they saw me in the newspaper and they called me CEO of Squatty Potty. Said, come down to St. George. We want in. And I had no investors. I had been doing this. I had put $100,000 of my own money into the company, research, R&D, patents. And I'm like, I need help now. So I go down to St. George. They put me up in a hotel. I go into their home. I mean, these guys are multi-millionaires, right? And so they say, Rob, we need 60% of the company. We need to run it.
60?
Yeah, we'll let you come down to St. George. You can work for us. You move down here with your family, but we need to take over. You don't know what you're doing. You're from government.
Like 60-40, you keep 40, but you still work for them?
I was like, hell no. You're crazy. I'm not giving up. This is brand new. Right. I can't just give up my baby 60%. And so lucky that happened. I used Squatty Potty's name to continue to get out there. So once I said, nah, that's okay, guys. Then I started using their name. Squatty Potty wanted to deal with me, Right. That's how I kind of, leveraged other deals. And so then I had to go raise money. We recently just raised over $500,000 from, local investors in Idaho and some here. A Samoan investor here in Lehigh invested in us. And so going through that process, 1 year ago, I pitched at Kiln down the street. And it was my first pitch ever. I got a pitch deck together, slides, and it's the same thing. I know how to tell the story. I can make everybody laugh. But the numbers and all the specifics,
the grill you on,
that's what they really care about.
Yeah, and so all the other people, I was the best pitch, my first ever pitch, best pitch. I made everybody laugh. Toilet seat jokes. I tell them, I come from politics, but from politics to restroom industry, same crappy business, and I make them laugh, right? Bring out that Samoan side of me, that personality, and they're all laughing. And best pitch, but Rob, your financials suck. Right.
They'd rather have you be dry, but have solid financials.
Then you see these tech guys come up there and everybody's sleeping. But once they see the first financial page, it's like, here's $2 million. So I had to fix that a year ago. So from a year ago to now, learning that pitch, I've been in multiple pitches where I'm the only Samoan guy. I'm the only guy, minority guy. Just me and my partner. My partner's black. Nice. So we're in a room full of hundreds of CEOs, and once we get out of the room, everybody knows us because we're going around. Me, I'm 6'2", he's 6'4". Everybody knows us by then. But and that's how we've kind of grown our company. Is everybody knows me and my partner. We're the toilet seat guys, and we've done really well. So. I don't know. I didn't even know what the original question was, but that was my Shark Tank deal. They cut me, man, and I quit my job. But it was the best thing that ever happened. I wouldn't have leaped, quit my job and went full time and come this far. Right. Big Fortune 500 companies are looking at us, Bemis, American Standard. Their guys are like, hey, we'll wait till you launch and see what happens. So that wouldn't have come if I wouldn't have, quit my job.
So how long were you doing your job and Washie?
Yeah, so 3 years. I was, I've always had side businesses. I've always been on a side hustle somehow. I've always had the job and then trying to promote concerts, trying to do film, commercials. Me and my wife opened a cleaning business in Pocatello that pays the bills for me right now. So, I don't have, I'm a startup. We bootstrapping it. So we've always had something. But I worked as an elected official and I did everything else on the side for about 3 years and then I quit. Nice. So the advice is don't quit right away. Right. Quit when you're financially stable to quit. Make sure you have a plan in place. If you quit and you can't pay your bills, I mean, you die.
I feel like that's the biggest growth point, though, is you quit your job, you literally had nothing else to turn to. So it's like back against the wall. Yeah, you're all in. And so, do you feel like that if you'd never quit, or whatever your regular job, do you think that you would have been where you are now with your business?
No. You know what? I believe in things happen for a reason, and all the things that have happened to me, good and bad, have led me here. Our company is valuated at $5 million. In a few years when we start selling, we'll be in the 20 to 25 mil range. And because I've been punched in the gut so much, I've learned, how to get here. Right. So if I never, if I wouldn't have quit, especially because a lot of people are writing, on me, like my parents, right? My parents gave me money for the business. My sister, my own family's money. I put $100,000 of my own money into it, and now I have investors. Some of my good friends that have given me money now. They're expecting a big return. So I mean, and I use it as motivation, not pressure. It's once I sell this company, everybody's going to be living the good life. Not, holy crap, what am I going to do? I need to sell this company. So I used it as motivation.
Yeah, that was one of the real estate investors that we talked to. She talked about like that whole process. She was doing the flip of while the property's being renovated. She was like major stressed out because she had like other people's money involved too. She ended up having to do like some $1,000 an hour, wasn't it? Like the therapy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. She did some special therapy and it was cost her $1,000 an hour. But she said it was like the best thing she ever did though, and like calmed her down because like real estate or any investing, you can't be emotional. Yeah, and so maybe you could check that. I can do it now. So I'm licensed to do that.
Politics got me ready for this world.
Yeah.
Politics is stressful. You're in the eye of the public. Especially because nobody looked at my background check before they voted me in.
I was gonna say none of the stuff from Hawaii pulled up, huh?
Don't look at my background. Trust me. But the stress of politics, especially on what's going on in today's world. I'm glad I left. I left at the right time. My name is still intact in Idaho. I left on good terms. I did a lot of good things for our community. So now they're pushing for me. I served my community. Now all of them are backing me.
Right.
When it comes to Washie and all my other products.
Nice.
Yeah.
So it seems like you knew like all of the connects that you, or maybe not so like how did you get in contact with like all these people? Because I'm thinking now like if I came up with an idea like that, first I would be thinking like, no, this is stupid. Nobody would buy this. Yeah. And I want to know if you went through that phase. And then two is even if I was like, all right, let's do this, I would have no idea where to start. Like, how do you find these people to make this thing happen?
Google. So the first, put Google aside. My first stop was my wife. I made sure my wife, backed the product. Like I showed her the product. I didn't tell her about the prototype, the first prototype. And I said, hey, look at this. Would you use this? She says, yep. Every public restroom needs one, right? Universities, stadiums.
You didn't think her opinion was biased? Like, this is my husband.
She's real with me. She'll tell me straight up on anything. Like, so she tells me a lot of stuff, just like you guys, right? But, if I didn't have the backing of my wife, right, how could I even create a company? Yeah. She's paying the bills right now. She's running a cleaning business and she's a real estate agent. So, while I go off on this journey and I try to take as little as money as possible from the company, she's paying all the bills. So I had to have her, her blessing first. And then I started with Google. I Googled everything. Everything is on the internet. Everything from patent search. So if you go Google/patent, you can find every single patent. So when I got with my attorney, I didn't want to pay him all this money. I've paid him tons of money, like over $30,000, $40,000. But at first I didn't have any money. So he said, here, go read, go find these patents. There's your idea in these 6 patents, but it's not your idea. It's just pieces of your idea in these patents. Now we have to figure out a way to make sure that you don't infringe on their stuff. So started with Google. Got the patent first. I waited a bit. I didn't want to put too much money in before I wasn't issued a patent. So I waited. And then when I was issued the patent, I was like, okay, it's time to go. I put at least $15,000-$20,000 at that point of my money into the company. And now it's time to go. So with connections, I used to do a lot of cold calling. So,
as official or just to raise money or something for the company?
To go see if anyone was interested in my product. So I would call like the airports and I would try to find out who. I mean, I had no clue. I was like, who in your company buys toilet seats? You know, and I would get directed to all these people, and then I would find the person. And so I just started like that. I just started calling people, try to get information. It took me a long time to do it, but and as well as LinkedIn. LinkedIn has helped me. I'm trying to be the first, not the first, but a LinkedIn celebrity. Right. I mean, LinkedIn with no marketing dollars for our company. I've made it pretty far on LinkedIn. Yeah. Tons of connections with people in high places.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's how we're connected. So.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So check me out on LinkedIn if you're watching. Yeah. So.
How did you get into, or like, how did you find your investors? Like, tell us a little bit about the journey on that, and for people that are watching, is that something that they can do as far as like, wow, this sounds like a really good idea. How do we invest in your company?
And then like also too, like what stage do you even start looking for investors? Because I'm pretty sure at some point you.
So my first investor was a really good friend of mine in Hawaii. He saw the product at first. The first version of it, I made a prototype. It cost me the prototypes cost me like $1,700 to make for a toilet seat now. Oh, wow. So when he saw the first prototype, it looked like one of those handicapped toilet seats, those really thick ones. Yeah. And he said, "What the heck is this?" And so he wasn't in, but through more prototyping and I, slimmed it down. I made it look kind of unique, high tech toilet seat. We're the first smart toilet seat, by the way. First smart toilet seat for public restrooms. So our app connects to the seat. It tells you when the cartridge is low, the battery is low, so maintenance crews can go on and figure out inventory. So when we got to that point, he was like, "Okay, I'm in," and he gave me $100,000. Wow! And so from there, I was like, "Oh God, we got $100,000."
I need friends like that.
First step: find a friend with $100,000.
He gave me $100,000, and I survived on that money for like a year and a half on R&D. Trips to China, trips to airport conventions, everywhere, right? I survived on that money, and then I started to run out. And then that's where the pitching came in. Mm-hmm. So I figured it out. Everybody started hearing about, Washie is looking for money. So where's your pitch deck? I was like, what the heck is a pitch deck? Right. So got the pitch deck together. And so locally, I had a big meeting with some doctors. So we have 2 surgeons that are investors, and then just some random investors from around the country. But what was the second part of the question?
Yeah, I don't know.
What stage?
One question at a time, please.
You're the one that asked the 2-part question.
I know, but I forgot my question, then I forgot yours. So.
At what stage? Oh, I think I remember.
Do you start raising money as soon as you get the idea, or like?
Yeah. So I don't know when everyone is different, right? For me, I needed to raise money when I knew that customers wanted to buy. There was a demand for it. Yeah. So when airports were like, "Okay, we want to see it. Like, come and give us some." Mm-hmm. Then I was like, "Okay, now I need to get serious and get some money." A lot of people are confused though when I have tons of our family say, "Oh, can I buy some stock in the company?" Right. You need to go public with the company before you buy stock. So there's a little difference. Early on in investment, you take a percentage of the company. It's all divvied up. Mm-hmm. But at this point, we've got enough money. But we will be having future raises. So I'll let you guys know if you guys are interested. But we've raised enough money to get us to the next step.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. And so then every company has to have like an exit strategy, right? So usually it's going public, I don't know, or being bought out. And so which one are you planning to?
We were invited to Silicon Slopes, the conference here. Did you guys go to that?
No.
Not at all.
Zuckerberg was the keynote speaker, and we made connections with NASDAQ. So me and my partner, Dane, right? I mean, we just stick out, and everybody knows us. And so we're making tons of noise, and the guys from NASDAQ come over, and we get in tight with them. So they invite us backstage and blah, blah, blah. And so, it's an option now. It's become an option because of the networking.
What?
Going public. Yeah. Because they've told us, we don't know how you go public.
Right.
But they set us down and they say, this is what you need. This is all you do. So our goal is to have 100 million in sales within 3 to 5 years, which in our business, we're not selling toilet seats. We're in the chemical business. So, that the reoccurring monthly revenue from chemical that goes into the seat is where we make our money. So we give you the seat for free, and then every month you're ordering the chemical from us. It's like the sanitizer business, right? So that's why we just launched our sanitizer. It's the same thing. People will buy a dispenser from us, and we'll give that dispenser to them for free, but they'll continually buy chemical from us.
Like the water machine companies that you see at Costco.
Or or ink. Right?
Ink, exactly.
You buy the printer,
and the ink just comes.
Every
My wife just signed up for that, man.
Yeah, so that's our model. And so based on our projections, 3 to 5 years, we'll be a $100 million company. We sell 8 to 10x, and then
golfing.
I'll be golfing every day. I'll take a break. I need a break. I have no sleep, man. I get like 4 to 5 hours of sleep a day.
Hey,
so
grind now so you can rest later.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Okay, so then with the prototype, talk about that. I know you mentioned earlier that you went through a lot of headaches of trying to actually launch, and so talk about a little bit of those struggles.
Yeah, so I wish you guys could see it. I'll send you guys a picture of the first seat ever.
You telling me you don't have it on your phone right now?
It was 5 years ago, guys, coming. So the idea that was in my mind is now alive, right? It's a real thing, right? And so it took me to get here 5 years. I took it slow at first because I didn't want to spend too much money. And when the patent was issued, then I went full speed. But it's taken me a long time to get here. So the first prototype, people looked at it and laughed at me. And people laugh at me like, I'm in toilet seat sales, right? I never knew I was going to be in toilet seat sales. I'm like, I never knew I was going to be in this industry. But I look at it, business is business. If I run this company as a CEO and we make $100 million or even $50 million, then the next door that opens for me is Rob is the CEO that made this happen.
Right.
Let's get him on this project. Let's get him on this. This is the door that opens multiple doors for me. So I'm a serial entrepreneur. After I sell this company, I'm going to go hire 4 CEOs to run my next 4 ideas.
Right.
So we just see how that goes. And then I can go golfing and they run the company, right? But it's taken me a long time to get here, and I didn't know anything about CADs, about design, about engineering. If I would have known some of the stuff I knew now, I would have saved $100,000 because of all the headache I went through. I didn't know what to do. If I would have hired an engineer from the start, I would have had the product sooner, right? But I think everything happened for a reason, and I learned these mistakes, so I don't make bigger mistakes in the future. Launching the product, so the biggest story that I tell people is, you guys are from the Bay, right?
Yeah.
I'll tell you this story. E40 is the best rapper. I don't know who you guys listen to, but E40 is the greatest lyricist. I know you guys are on. What'd you guys say in your last show?
Drake. You guys were talking about Drake.
Oh, Drake.
Yeah, Drake. Yeah. So I was in the IE in Ontario Airport. We had a pilot run there, and so China had sent me my seats, 5 seats, and they're delayed in customs because of the batteries. We had lithium batteries. And so it delayed, and I said, hey, just ship them directly to my hotel in California. And so I got them the day I was supposed to install. So I take them out of the box, 5 seats, and they're not working. They're malfunctioning. So I'm like, holy crap, I have to jimmy rig all these seats. So I go to Home Depot and Walmart, try to fix the seats, and they're finally working. They say, Rob, you need to come in at 12 or 1 a.m. to install. Nobody's going to be there. And then, we'll talk to you in 3 days. Just leave them there for 3 days. So I install them. I'm there till like 4 o'clock, freaking on the ground. The CEO of the company on the ground, scrubbing and
in the bathroom.
In the bathroom, right? And these are going to be the stories that I'm going to tell my kids. Hey,
right.
I was the CEO of the company, but I was on the ground of a public
Get
restroom.
my hands dirty, yeah.
This most disgusting place ever, installing toilet seats. So I install the toilet seats, and I leave there about 4 o'clock in the morning. And at 9 o'clock, I get a call, hey, your stuff isn't working. It's malfunctioning, and one even broke off the bowl. So I go back in there. I'm like, oh, man. Go back in there. One is completely off the bowl. I found out that China had made some adjustments to our hinge, and they used the soft plastic. So somebody sat on it, and it came off.
Oh, man.
One of them, the sensor wasn't working. We have, malfunctions everywhere. And I just look like this idiot, right? So I get 2 to work, and I take out the other 3, and they're there for 3 days, and then they call me in for a meeting. I'm there with the VPs of customer experience, the COO. This Ontario Airport is the fastest growing airport in California. Oh, really? They have an international side going up right now. Everybody doesn't want to go to LAX. They go to Ontario, right? So we need to get this account. This is going to be huge for us. So they sit me down and they say, Rob, we love your product and we love the concept, but your execution sucked. They gave it to me straight. And so in the middle of the meeting, while I'm getting my butt chewed out, right, my phone goes off and the ringtone is, tell me when to go. Tell me when to go. Tell me when to go. And I'm like, it's time to go.
Like now.
It can't get worse than this.
That's your
cue.
cue.
It can't get worse. I'm like, and they're looking at me, and I'm like, slowly reaching over to my phone, and I click it silent. I'm like, oh. No. And then, so after Shark Tank, I got punched in the stomach for Shark Tank, and then probably 3 months later, I'm in Ontario getting punched. After that, I went to my hotel room, laid on my bed. I didn't move for like 3 hours. Yeah, that was a huge account. That was almost $1 million account for us.
Wow.
So funny thing though, I emailed the VP of customer experience. Say, listen, that's my bad. It's my fault. We things happen. That's not our product though. Those are prototypes. We have a better product than that. And so I see him at an airport conference in Tampa, and see him from across the way. We're a vendor there. And I'm like, oh crap! He sees me and he walks directly up to me. Big black guy. His name's Willie Edwards. He comes up to me, shakes my hand, says, "Don't worry, man. We still believe in the product. Get us some good stuff."
Nice.
And so because I was honest with him and I didn't make any excuses,
right?
He told my partner this. He's like, Rob took the blame for it. We like that, right? Just bring back the seats. When you get the real stuff in, bring back the seats. So just some of those things that happen. And so here's another story. When I was in Tampa, I've been driving everywhere from Boise to Salt Lake to Vegas, on airplanes. The last day I was at the conference, I feel something in my leg. Like something's going on with my leg. I go to the ER, find out I had 3 blood clots from traveling so much.
Oh, wow.
So these entrepreneurs almost killed me, man. They admitted me. They said, if you would have went on the flight, it would have went into your lungs. You would have died.
Sheesh.
So I'm in the before they told me that and before they got me on the meds, I'm on my phone saying a goodbye message to my family, recording it, just in case I die.
Yeah.
So this has taken me like all kinds of places. Right. You know what I mean?
That entrepreneur life, like Monte said, not everybody's built for it.
Oh yeah.
So tell us a little bit about just networking, how big that has been with you, or what networking means to you and your business.
Yeah. So politics got me ready, for networking, because I had to go campaign. I had to go convince people I was the right guy for the job, right? And because I'm usually the only brown guy in the room, right. I knew how to navigate that, especially with politics.
Take advantage of it.
Yeah, in Idaho, I was one of the youngest at the time elected officials, and I was the only brown guy in the room. So all white people. When all the elected officials get together, hundreds of elected officials, and from state to federal to county, I'm the only brown guy in the room. So I used it, I used it football. I used, they relate to that. I used, people love Samoans, man. The culture, our culture of how we are, we come with open arms and we're welcoming. I mean, they know, especially guys that go on missions. they're repping our culture because, you know, when you go around and say, you Samoan? Yeah. Say, yeah. Say, oh, we had a missionary, blah, blah, blah. So that's helped us, you know. And people know Samoan people, Polynesian people in general, for being that way. So that's helped. But, with networking, I'm not the guy that, I am now, but I wasn't the guy that walked up to somebody and started a conversation.
Right.
I'm that guy now. I had to change how I was taught by my parents. But my parents, I don't know if I want to say our parents. My parents told me to be so respectful, to never talk or answer back or be the vocal one, right? That when I came into business, I had to switch that. I had to be the vocal one. I had to get rid of that mentality that I'm not the servant anymore.
Right. In
business, I'm not a servant. I'm a leader. Like I'll run the ship for you, right? Or for myself. So I had to change that. You know, it's all respectful. It's even when you when you're at the table or when you're watching TV and you walk in, tulop, you know, you just say, excuse me, you know, I was doing that and excuse me, but nobody else was doing that. Like, why isn't everybody else, all these other people, like, you know, respectful like me? And then, so I had to kind of change it up. You know, I still kept a bit of it.
Right.
But when I get into business mode, it's, Rob, I'm going to take over and dominate this, you know? And I'm back in my family mode and, you know, I get the culture comes back and we're good to go. I ain't doing that at home. my dad will still slap me, you know. I'm a grown ass man, so. But so changing from that, and especially, you know, my friends. So I have a lot of friends back home, and they see me. Oh, Robbie, who is Rob now? Rob didn't used to be like this, and so they see that, and so I mean, we kind of got to teach our brothers and sisters. When we're in business, we're in careers. It's not time to be the servant anymore. It's time to take over. Don't take a back step. Back seat.
Don't be afraid to be seen and heard.
Yeah, and I feel like maybe the younger generation, like you guys, what you're doing is that's taking away that. You know, you getting rid of that mindset. But guys that are in their late 30s and 40s, 50s, still have that mindset of be obedient. You know, so had to change that. Had to be the vocal person. Go and talk to people. And it was hard for me at first, but I had to do it for my family. I had to get the job, right? It had to for my kids and my wife, so I had to do it.
Yeah.
What are some changes that you like looking back at your journey? What you've been through so far? Is there anything about your journey that you would change? I know a lot of people said that they wouldn't, but I'm just curious. Is there anything that you wish you would have done more of, less of, not done at all? Is there anything about your journey that you would change? Right now, looking back?
Yeah, there's definitely one thing, and I've started to change it now. Family time. When I was an elected official, I never saw my family. I was always on the road. I was always at work. I was so stressed out. I missed my kids' recitals, sports, and I took the job because I was trying to be the career person and get the ladder. That I missed out on my kids' games and stuff. And I noticed that my wife, sat me down and she talked to me about that and said, "Look, is it really worth it? You're missing everything. You're not even here anymore." Because I had to travel so much throughout the state of Idaho, at least 8 times a year for a week, and I was gone so much. And then when I used to have to run elections or, huge events will happen in our city, I was gone. I was always at ribbon cuttings. I was always at these places, and my wife was taking the kids around. So when I jumped into becoming an entrepreneur, I promised my kids, "Hey, I'm going to start coaching, start training." So one of the other side hustles we have is we started this training camp, right?
What's the name of the
PAC? Idaho PAC, PACC. Now I forgot the acronym.
We'll tag it in the
So
sounds like a great one though.
Yeah, I mean, we started with just my kids. I wanted to do it for my kids because they were sitting on the couch, and I know better than that. I was an athlete. I said, you guys should be doing more than that. So started to 5 kids. Now we got 60 plus kids,
Nice.
twice a week, going to training, coaching my kids' football team, soccer. So that part of being in business and career, I mean, you need to set tons of time for your family. Can't lose track of that.
Yeah.
I definitely lost track of that.
So how do you how do you prioritize your time now and making sure that you allot enough time for your family and making sure that you're still able to take care of your business? Because obviously it's different. It's a different schedule that you have now than when you were a politician, I'm sure. But I'm sure that your time is highly demanded by your company that you're starting. You haven't even launched yet, so I'm sure that's, as you come closer to that launch date, more time is required to be given to. Yeah. So how do you prioritize? Because I know exactly what you're talking about, and my brothers know this, but that's the big reason why I decided to walk away from football. Is the NFL is great and the money was great, but I was missing out on time with my family as well. And it came to a point where it was like, is it exactly kind of the conversation you had with your wife is it worth it? Is it really worth it to miss out on time with your wife and your kids to build something else, you know? And so I understand that. So I guess my question is, how do you prioritize it now that you're in a different role that, at least now, because you're getting closer to that launch date, is more demanding? How do you prioritize that now then?
Yeah. Calendar. Schedule. So my Outlook calendar is full, right? And so my wife and I, every week, we sit down and say, okay, these are the kids' events. Brooklyn has dance on this day and blah, blah, blah. You need to drop off the kids here. So I schedule them first on my calendar.
So you schedule your family first?
I schedule my family first on the calendar. I got football practice, 2 o'clock, training, 3 o'clock, whatever. Schedule them in first, and I work around them. So, and I'm up till like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning doing work and then on the phone with China. So I'm up late, right? And my wife takes over in the morning, lets me sleep in a little bit. And then, scheduling that with my wife and scheduling them first and then scheduling business around them. It's going to change though. Because when I launch, I'm actually, so we're thinking about moving down here to Utah. I'm in Pocatello, Idaho, and I'm going to move by myself first. Mm-hmm. I'm going to check it out first. So my wife's going to be up there with 4 kids, and I'll be going back and forth. But this is the grind. This is what we have to do. Hopefully, in my mind, that this happens for the next year. And then I can hire a CEO to run the company, and I become, on the advisory board or just the, board of directors, and start other businesses. But this is for now. This is for now to hopefully give my kids something that I didn't have. I grew up poor, poor. Like I get my creativity because we were poor. Right. So when my mom. So my mom's a stay-at-home mom, and my dad just never saw him, right? So always at work. So, we have to be creative in the kitchen, right? All the food is like, man, my wife is like, you can cook anything, like of leftovers. Yeah. Like if there's leftovers, let's go, put it all together.
She's like, there's nothing in the kitchen. You're like, just give me 1 minute.
Exactly, let me snap something up. But it's because my mom, right? We didn't have no food, so back when I was a kid in Hawaii, my mom used to make us musubi, musubis and banana bread. Me and my cousin had to go sell those door to door.
Oh, nice.
And at that time, I didn't know it was to pay the bills. I thought they was just trying to make some money.
Teach you a lesson.
Teach me a lesson. I hated it. I used to go knock on banana bread, knock on the door, sell to these military families. They love the banana bread, and then come home and give my mom the money. She'll give me $2. And I'll make like $100. I'm like, $2. But that grind that she taught me, and then she would, they on the weekends would have like the Samoan Flag Day or like events. They'll go pop up their tents and make plates or pulingi. And so I was over there collecting money and running all the errands. So all that stuff that I hated as a kid, I'm like, man, why I gotta do all this stuff? Right. That's how I got my grind now. That I know how to work. My parents taught me that. They're the true champs, man. My dad especially. I never saw my dad, but because he was working 16-hour shifts every day, never come home. and I tell this story, and when I make it big, and when I pay my parents back, I'll invite them to the restaurant that we used to go and have this fancy meal at, like maybe once a month. And that restaurant was Jack in the Box.
Hey.
When we were kids,
Hey, that's fancy as hell. I love.
That's Rick.
yeah, when we were kids, well, my wife laughs at it. My wife don't know nothing about this stuff.
Jack in the Box. Yeah, let's go.
So we would go to Jack in the Box at this military area. It was a nicer Jack in the Box, real nice. And we're like, we can get a meal?
Yeah. Not just
My
the
own
sandwich,
drink?
the whole.
Not the 99-cent jumbo jack. You can get a meal? Oh, Dad, thank you. Thank you. We got a meal, ultimate cheeseburger. So when I make it big, I'm going to go to that same
Hey,
Jack in the Box.
When you make it big, you need to open up a Jack in the Box in your mind. I'm tired of this. We need a Jack in the Box.
It's funny. I bring Jack in the Box down from Idaho for my cousins in
really?
in Bountiful. They're like, bring some breakfast jacks.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's. I mean, some of the stuff that we went through as a kid. I mean, the best experiences of my life. I used to live in KPT with like 14 people. Just live my bed was the couch, But I thought it was fun.
Right.
All my cousins, we'd be late out riding bikes late at night. And then when my wife hears about that, she's like, "Oh, I'm so sorry for you." My wife's pretty, she just got
So
that.
what are you talking about? That was hella fun.
She got that white privilege.
So really?
No,
in the struggle.
Yeah, she don't understand.
I had the floor. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Facts. Who was on the floor?
Funny thing, when we moved back to Hawaii, we lived with my parents, and I was like, "Oh yeah, we're just gonna live here like forever." And she was like, "No, we're moving out." And so everybody lives at my parents' house, right? That's just how it is. So when she moved, she wanted to move out. My parents were like, "Oh, you're taking our son away, huh?"
Yeah.
So that the culture part of that, you're marrying a white girl. But and my wife has learned through the years, so she's adapted to the culture. She loves the culture, man.
Well, shout out to the wife.
Yeah.
But we'll wrap up here shortly. I did want to ask one more thing. It might be a little bit off topic, but this is something we talked about recently. You talk about like how your mindset and your grind comes from the struggle that you experienced as a kid. Do you ever worry about like, you're grinding now, so your kids don't have to experience that same struggle? Like, will they grow up with that same kind of mindset, or?
Yeah. You know what I worry about the most is that my kids will be, they will be, what is the word for it? Entitled. That's what I worry about the most. That I would be successful and that my kids would be so entitled that they wouldn't know that grind.
Right.
Because that happens. Mm-hmm. And I've talked to plenty of CEOs that since I've been doing this, I have mentors that have taken, unicorns companies. Mm-hmm. And that's what happened to their kids. There's so much money that what do you need to work for?
Right. Yeah.
So I hope that doesn't happen to my kids. So I hope they do see how much I'm at work. Mm-hmm. And they do see, they know. My youngest 4-year-old says, "Oh, Daddy's downstairs on WeChat." Yeah. She knows what I'm doing down there, like in my office, right? So they know. I want them to see it. Mm-hmm. Because if I didn't learn that from my parents, I wouldn't be this way. Mm-hmm. And if I just gave them everything, they would turn out to be spoiled and rotten, Right. And then how the trust fund babies are and those types of things. So I want them to see this. It's not going to be forever. I can't make it forever. It has to be for now. Mm-hmm. And then once I make it, and then I'll slow down a bit. Nice. It's just for now.
Cool. All right.
Well, yeah. Hope that answered the question.
Yeah, definitely. That's just something that I always think about too, because I can already see it a little bit. And my oldest, we tell her to go downstairs and clean. She's like, "Why do I have to clean?" And I'm just like, man. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
You got to get rid of that maid you hired then.
Huh? I'm just kidding. I'll tell my wife we'll edit that out. But yeah. So I guess in wrapping up, do you have any general advice, last words that you would want to give to the viewers watching this?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we got a lot of people that are watching that have an idea that maybe, like Monte said, they probably think it's dumb or they just don't know where to go. Entrepreneurs that are already in the process, maybe in the early stages already. Yeah. I mean, what would you say to them? What advice would you give to them? And, you know, I guess the message that you want them to pull from your story.
Yeah. I think everybody has ideas, right? Everybody has that idea. Yeah. And when I started writing down my ideas in my phone, I started to see my ideas pop up on TV and people were taking them. I'm like, that's mine.
Hacked your phone.
Yeah. I was like, I was supposed to do that. So on LinkedIn, you know, my last few lines on LinkedIn, every time I make a post is, can't stop, won't stop, right? Let's go Washie. That's my line, right? So people just need to jump. Just jump and go and do it. Research it. If you have an idea, get on Google and research. Everything is on the internet. And if it's nobody's taking the idea, do it. You just got to do it. I mean, the main point of it is if you don't do it, you're going to watch somebody do it. If you're not going to do it, sit on the couch and watch me do it or watch somebody else do it. And then you won't get, you know, the fruits or you won't get the gold from the idea that you had. Right. So, and a lot of people inbox me and say, how do I start? How do I start? And I give them all the information. And then I say, did you start yet? So, you know, some people love to, I say, oh, I got these ideas, blah, blah, blah. Can you do it for me? Or and there's that, you know, few that say, okay, I'm gonna do it then, you know, and I'm gonna just leave. If you just want to change your life, do something different and leap. So, yeah,
that's the scary part. That leap.
Yeah,
I'm saying I feel like that's everything. Right. It really is, man. Because I mean, for some people, it's dropping everything. Yeah. Sometimes that leap involves dropping what you're comfortable doing, where you're comfortable at, leaving where you're comfortable at, and just, like you said, just leaping in that, man. Shoot. Yeah. If more people could do that, I imagine where this world would be at. Right. Yeah. And how many more financially successful people would be out there if we could just get over whatever that barrier is that's holding people back from making that leap, as you said.
Yeah. I mean, I've had several businesses. This is not the first, and most of those businesses are gone and failed. So I've leaped and have failed, and leaped and failed, but through the leaps,
still leaping,
and through the loss of all the money, you know, that I've put into these companies, time and effort, the experiences and what I've learned from, you know, those companies have made me the CEO, you know, a good CEO of this company. I don't want to blow my own head up. But, blow it up. I'm ready, you know. Yeah, and it's like this, like people, you know, especially Polynesian people, they don't want to be the highlight, and they want to say, oh, nah,
be humble,
you know,
right?
Yeah, say, oh, you know, you're really good. Nah, I'm not good. Yeah. No,
hell yeah, I'm good.
Just say you're good. Yeah, just say you're the guy.
I'm definitely.
Yeah, so I mean, through those experiences, I mean, I've learned and just gotta be different. Yeah. I'm in toilet seat sales. Yeah. Let's go. You know, if it makes money,
get your money. Get where you fit in, right?
Make your money. It makes sense.
That's right.
All right. We just want to thank you again for coming out, taking the time out, because, you know, like you explained, your time is precious, especially right now. But we really do appreciate you coming out, sharing all those gems with not only us but our viewers and our people, and hopefully people see, you know, some of those highlights and apply it into their lives, and we can see more people on your level. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So, 1 second. Go ahead and where can people reach you? And go ahead and plug in your thing.
Yeah.
So people can get some hand sanitizer.
Yes. So Washie, WASHIE, WashieProducts.com. We just launched our hand sanitizer, and we're coming out with a toilet seat spray as well. These are on the go. You can travel with them. We got the good stuff, 80%, smells like lavender. So yeah, support a Polynesian company, a minority company. We're 97% owned by minorities. So we'd love the support. And if you're on LinkedIn, look me up, Rob Poleki.
Nice.
3.3 fluid ounces.
Let's go.
Fits in your carry-on.
That's right. That's right.
That's right. I like how you did that.
Yeah.
All right, like we always say, go out there and find ways to be
prolific. Hey, you putting that box?
Thanks,